Imagine your paycheck, okay? If you get paid on a regular basis, some of you might not get paid a steady paycheck. I don't get paid a steady paycheck, but just imagine an average payday. Think of the number that it might be. What if it was a little bit less than that? What if it was like $20 less than that, $50 less than that? How much would your life change? I imagine not much. I know a little bit of money can mean a lot, but what if it was just less? Your employer has decided to pay you somewhat arbitrarily. What if what they initially decided to pay you was a fraction less than that? Would your life be that different? Some people, probably who work in the same industry as you, get paid a little bit less than you, or have more expenses, or higher debt, or just in a less fortunate situation. Chances are someone is in that camp. Well, why not just act like that's you and just take a little bit of money, throw it onto a pile for safekeeping? Ideally, you put it in a high-yield savings account, but just any kind of account separate from all your other money. That's it. That is my main advice. I've said this before. I did a video about the $20 rule called something about blah, 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 in which my dad told me every time I got paid a certain amount, I was waiting tables, so I was leaving the restaurant with cash every shift. Every time I got paid a certain amount, I chose $50 or more, put 20 away into savings. And once I started doing that, it changed my life. I wanted to make another video about money, and I was just trying to think of other advice I could give, and the more I thought about it, this is still the best advice I can give. Figure out a way to take little bits of money at a time and put them away in a separate savings account. Not a new account for every little bit you take out, which was a funny comment on the last video. Just one account for a separate pile of money. Because when I did that, a funny thing happened, which was nothing. My life didn't noticeably change. What probably happened was I was so here was my life situation. I had zero savings. I was broke. I would save up enough money to pay all my bills every month and then do whatever fun things I wanted to do and be back to zero every time. Or near zero. Luckily, I never got a credit card, so I didn't have any debt. I also didn't build any credit, but that's for later. But what I think happened was I was operating my life by just looking at the amount of money I had in my account and making decisions, maybe subconsciously, about what I should do. I have this much money, let's go do this. And then when I started putting little bits away, I was just looking at the amount of money I had and acting accordingly, forgetting about the savings. So if rent was coming up, I would be like, oh, I gotta pay that. So maybe I would pick up extra shifts at work, or I would switch into a closing shift, which made me work a longer shift and make more money. That's kind of the beauty of waiting tables. It's pretty flexible. Or I would just go out less and spend less on frivolous things, but all done in such a way that I didn't even really notice, because little bits of money here and there don't really make that big of an impact on your life. But once I started seeing that savings number go up, I got addicted. I started gamifying it. I started trying to figure out how I could make that go up faster. I started taking out $50 at a time sometimes. I started to challenge myself to see how little I actually needed and how much I could save. I had things to pay off. I had student loan debt. I had rent. I had bills. But I also lived alone and waited tables and had really no other obligations, so I could just continue to adjust my life to fit my spending. Having a wife and child, having a family, it's a different situation. It's more complicated. I'm not really talking about that right now. I'm talking to the people who were like me when I was broke, and really didn't know what to do about it. Again, this video is very similar to the last video, but as I was researching doing another money video, I discovered that just the advice that's out there I feel it's lacking in this point of view. There's very little advice that's just like, you're broke, here's how to not be broke. It's more, you're hugely in debt, here's how to be super rich. Or it's from the perspective of someone who has a family and a house and just trying to figure out how to maximize their already not terrible situation. Like, how do I pay off my mortgage faster? How do I have more vacations? I just find that there's very little from the perspective of, I'm completely broke, how do I just not be? And even if that advice does exist, it's always filled with a lot of tips that I feel like are irrelevant for now when you're broke. They're better tips when you have money, like how to budget for vacations or mortgages or maximize your investments. When I was 20 and broke, I did not give a shit about investments. I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I was just a broke guy with a dream of not being broke. I kind of wanted to work in the entertainment industry, but I was living in Chicago waiting tables and didn't really pursue that very much. I was a creative, artsy type who was just broke and didn't want to be. But I also never paid much attention to money and business and finance. I hated that stuff. I still hate it. I still hate money. I still hate the idea of money. I hate thinking about money. I make money so that I don't have to think about it. Which leads me to just trying to simplify things as much as possible. And so the simplest thing I can tell you is figure out a way to take little bits at a time and put it into a pile of money, into savings. Yes, I know, you are in debt. You have massive credit card debt. You have lots of bills. You have a health issue that costs a lot of money. You have lots of things that cost money. I think there's an attitude that you need to pay off all those debts first before you can even begin to think about saving. And I think that's wrong. I think that's backwards. I think it's better to have a little pocket of money for emergencies, for just peace of mind, even while you have the debt. I came up with a metaphor, okay? Here, let me draw it. Oh, first, probably something I should have said in the beginning. I am not a money professional. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some idiot on the internet. Please take this with a grain of salt. Also, everyone's situation is different. I can only speak to me as a broke person in my 20s, as the person I'm talking to right now. I think a lot of what I am saying can be general good advice for lots of people, but this is what I have in mind, and it may not apply to you. Also, there are a lot of systemic problems that make life uniquely hard, and I believe that too. I just can't do anything about it right now, so I'm just trying to help you individually, okay? And I talked about the $20 rule. There could be many different amounts, many different tricks. I will get into some of those different tricks for saving money in a bit, but just a second. Money metaphor. Money more. Money metaphor. The putting little pockets of money away made me think about money a little differently than I did before. I think a common way to think about money is in the extreme, like you are drowning in debt. There's a giant ocean and you're like down here when you want to be on the top, or like in a really tall boat. I'm drawing very weirdly, and you're up here at the top of money ocean, or you're drowning in debt, which is all just very extreme. And I feel like if you're down there, what hope do you have? And I don't even think that's accurate as to how money works. I see it more as a river. This is the money river. Can you even see this? Money river. Right here, okay? It's always flowing. You got your income, wherever the money's coming from. And then you got down here, it's being sucked out by, in reality, I don't really know how rivers work exactly, but I think gravity, I assume. The river is flowing, down. But in our metaphor, it's being sucked out through bills, debt, expenses, wants, needs, whatever, your spending habits. And this is always happening. This is always going to be happening. It doesn't matter how much money you have coming in, how much is going out. It's just a forever flow that's always going to be there. Some people are fortunate enough to have a very large amount up here going in. Some people are fortunate enough to have not a whole lot that has to go out. But there's no guarantee for any of them that they will have any more than this flow of money, unless you just divert some. Just divert some over to a lake. Here's a little divert path. And then you got a lake right here where you can, as it's flowing, you just whoop, you put a little bit over here. It doesn't matter how much is here or how much is here. You just try to always just put a little bit in here all the time. I think, even if you have a lot of debt, that's causing this flow to go even faster, doesn't matter. You should still put a little bit in here. As much as you can. Not as much as you can. Just a little bit at a time. However much is comfortable to you. Just a little bit at a time. Until, things will happen and maybe this will dry up and then you need to take from here. But this should be a constant. This should always be happening. Let's say you have a huge windfall up here. You have a big inflow. Let's say there was a lot of rainstorms up here. And you got a lot up here all of a sudden. And then it's going down here. You could just put more in here instead of going down here and increasing this flow with more wants, for instance, or paying off more debt even. Just, why not have this pool right here? Why not have it? It's a secret weapon, and now my ink is dry. Okay, now I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Kickoff. Kickoff is how you start a football game when it has the letter C in it, but this Kickoff is a credit building tool that does not have a C in it, so you're not lost at sea in the game of life! That's not a talking point, that's just a stupid pun I came up with. Here's a problem I had in early adulthood. I did not have a credit card, which was great! I didn't want debt, but also, it was bad! Because I wasn't building credit. Ugh. And when you want things like a house or a car or a jetpack, still waiting on the jetpacks, Science. Jetpacks exist, but they're not affordable. Having credit matters if you want those things. I had to figure that out the slow way, but I wish I had Kickoff to help get me started. Kickoff is a credit building tool, not a loan, not a credit card, not a subscription, and not a donut. Do not eat Kickoff. It's simply a smarter way to build credit. You can sign up in minutes with no credit check, no interest, and no hidden fees. And no donuts unless you have a donut with you. Plans start at just $5 a month. By keeping your account open and making on-time payments, AutoPay makes it easy. Kickoff reports to all 3 major credit bureaus. That means you're adding positive payment history and lowering utilization, 2 major factors for credit. Kickoff users who started with their credit under 600 and made on-time payments saw an average improvement of plus 25 points in their first month and up to plus 84 points in their first year. It's the #1 credit building app in the App Store, and it's recognized by Credit Karma and NerdWallet. If your credit is holding you back, Kickoff is one of the easiest and safest ways to build it. If ropes and chains are holding you back, get a friend with really strong scissors. You probably need bolt cutters. And right now you can get up to 80% off your first month. That is as low as $1 if you go to my special link right down there. Go to getkickoff.com/WheezyWaiter to try it. Kickoff. Not football, not a donut. Again, that's my talking point.
Now, where were we? Yes, the closing thoughts of my metaphor.
I think having that pool of money, rather than having no debt, even having lots of debt, but if you still have a pool of money in your control, I feel like you're in a better position. You can use that money for emergencies so that you can still continue, the flow will still continue unimpeded, or you could make that lake even bigger, or you could reduce the outgo of the flow by taking some of that lake money and investing in yourself. I guess, metaphorically, start a duck farm, sell ducks, I don't know, on the lake, whatever. What I did was I bought a laptop and started making videos and changed the course of my life. I don't know, we're getting lost in the metaphor. The point is, I feel the best thing you can do, no matter your situation, if you are able, take a little bit out at a time. Sometimes you may have to pull that back. There's no consequence. It's just a new account that you open up. It's not a credit card account. You won't be penalized for it, I guess, unless you take more out than you have. Just don't do that. You can just try. Just start. Just as a game. Just be like, ooh, what if I put in a little bit right now? Ooh, what if I put in a little bit more? Even with debt. Now is the time to start trying. Now. Right now. Open an account. Just try to put a little bit of money in. Now, there are different tricks you could do. You could set a goal. Be like, I'm going to have $100 in here by the end of the month. Just gamify it a little bit, see if you can make that happen. There's the, I don't know what you'd call it, the $10,000 rule. Apparently, if you put $27.40 in every day, which might be a lot, might be too much for a lot of people, but if you did that for a year, that would be $10,000. You would save $10,000 in a year. So you could try that. Or some of these I got from the comments of that previous video I did. There's the zero out method where if the total amount in, say, your regular account is odd, like $706.46, you just take the $6.46 and put it in the savings to zero it out. Or conversely, in the savings, zero it out. Like if you're almost at 500, you need like $4 more, just pop $4 in there. Just constantly check in and be like, oh, I'll zero that out. Oh, I'll zero that out. I feel like in the end, on your deathbed, you're not going to be like, if only I had $6.46 more. You know, but you actually would still have it. It's just in a separate account. And of course, you could automate it. You can set it up so every paycheck or every certain day, you put in a certain amount into that separate account. Personally, I didn't like to automate it. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to manually do it so that I felt the saving happening, because it gave me a little dopamine hit after a while. Or if you pay off something like a car payment and now you fully own the car, keep doing that car payment, but put it in the savings. I just think this is something that psychologically really worked for me when I needed it most, was to just have that separate pile of money and watch it grow. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't even a get-out-of-debt scheme. This is just make your situation better right now scheme. Get into the habit. Discover what it means to actually have a little pocket of money that's just there. I think it's addicting, and I think it's a good addiction. You might be living with huge debt. It might be an enormous stress, and you might want to just get rid of that debt. Well, I say just have this pile of money. Don't use it to pay off the debt. Just use it to have a little cushion. Continue to pay off the debt at small rates, but try to also pay into the savings. And then, once you get your savings to a certain level, then more aggressively attack the debt. Sure. Whether you put the money in the savings or not, you still have debt. It might be growing more as you ignore it. I don't think the feeling psychologically is going to be that much different if it's like slightly less than it is now. So just also have savings. I feel like I'm talking too forcefully. I don't want to be too instructive. I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm mostly, again, talking to me in my 20s. And I think once you have some of that money disappearing into your savings, it will motivate you to look for other ways to make it up, like ways to save money, cook more at home, pick up extra shifts if you are in a job that can do that, or find some sort of side hustle or something. I think if you're putting so little at a time into it, I don't think it will really make you break your back to recover. And if it does, well, then take some out. And once you discover this habit of saving, once you hopefully enjoy it and it just becomes a given, then I think you can start looking at how to maximize, how to take some of that money maybe and put it in a better savings account, or invest some of it in stocks or whatever, or even better, invest in yourself. I feel like that's the best thing you can do. It's cliche to say that, but I think that's what I did looking back. I saved up about $2,000 with my $20 rule, and I bought a laptop. I think I may have had a little extra, a little more than $2,000, and it was a little reckless of me. Maybe I should have kept that cushion of money, but I bought a laptop and then continued saving. But I had the skill of editing with Final Cut Pro. That's what it was back then. So I bought a laptop that could use that, because I hadn't used it since college, which was, 6 years earlier, and brought back those skills I had and just made a bunch of videos for years. It took a long time to actually make any money off of that. That's a whole other journey. But the start of it was getting used to having a little pile of money saved away. Not a get-rich-quick scheme, just a start. Yeah, I kind of made this video before, but I don't know that I can give better advice than that. This is the best I can do. So I'm just doing it again, kind of, with some added ideas. I hope it's a good reminder to you. I hope it helps you. And half of my audience are people who just find me through the algorithm, so they probably didn't see the other video. Welcome, new people. I'm not Vsauce. Ha 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 ha. It got dark in here. It makes what I'm saying seem really important and profound. Oh, and the sun's back out. That is all. I hope this video helped inspire you a little bit to save some money and maybe taught you something, or maybe it just helped you pass the time until the doctor comes in. Are you in the doctor's office waiting for the doctor right now? The Why Do I Like This shirt is back. It was out of stock for a while. Now it's back, and it's got blue color and a light blue color. Woo! Merch! That's short for merchandise. And that's all I got to say.